Welcome back, everybody. So today we are going to be working on the Honda Spree, which is what I told you in the last video, is we're going to be trying to knock this out. I'm going to do a speed run on it right now. I'm not going to video any of that. I'm just going to, I'm going to run around a little bit and I'll show you the speed when I'm done. So here's my GPS right here, 0 max speed. So when I get back, we'll see what it says right there. And then we are going to, it's kind of hard to do this without showing you what's like right here behind this camera. there's here, we'll get you. Here you go, right here. Okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and install all of this stuff. So pipe, belt, pulley. We're going to get all that stuff installed in this video. And then we're going to do another speed run. So let's go ahead and knock my first speed run out, bone stock. Okay, I am back. So, top speed right there. 29 miles an hour. Now, I'm not going to say, we're not rounding it up to 30. We're just saying 29. That's it. It is a little windy out there. I could feel the wind, but it's all good. So we're just going to say 29 miles an hour. That's what this thing hit. That's what we're going to go off of. So now we need to let this cool off. But while it's cooling off, I'm going to, well, first I'm going to take a break. Then we're going to start tearing apart the plastics on this thing because I've got to get all of this off because the exhaust. And then I think I have to get into this side because this cover is covering. So needless to say, we need to take the plastics off of this thing first. So take a little break and then we're gonna move this thing behind me out of the way a little bit and start pulling this apart. Okay, so far this thing hasn't been too bad to tear apart. It's actually good to like get in and see this thing. So here's the panels. I mean, they're a little bit dirty, so I'm gonna wipe these down. You know, there's a little bit of oil residue in it, all that stuff, just road grime, all that kind of stuff. But they're still in immaculate shape. Everything in here looks good. I like. Let us see on everything. So there's the exhaust right there, no problem. Air boxes right here. Let's see here. Alright, so there's a screw on top of the airbox. Alright, we ain't gonna get into that. Alright, now see if I can get this exhaust off. I think I need a smaller wrench. I think I'm gonna need, yeah, I'm gonna need my open end box end wrench for the exhaust. That's they're 10 mil. I'm doing it while it's still hot to a point. That way, oh yeah, these things hopefully are a little warm and will come off easy. Looks like that one is. That one did. So, first one. I haven't soaked these either. I'm just, you know, everything is coming off nicely. There's that. The other one, probably have to get that from the other side. And that one came off so easy too. That's why a lot of times if you can get these things just warm enough, they should all come off pretty easy. So there you go. That's the two 10 mil bolts that hold it onto the head. Then comes down and you have 2 bolts right here, which are 12s. Then you got a little bracket right here on the back. This is coming off easy. I like this. But it's still warm. I don't know what size this is back here. And supposedly this exhaust should just basically just bolt right up. I mean, it's kind of basically built for this, so. That one's a little hard. All right, there's one. I don't know what size this is back here. This is not, it's smaller than a 10. All right, there's that. And now the exhaust should come right off. Yeah. There we go. Come on. I think this cover needs to come off. I'm not trying to mess nothing up here, but the flange is hitting the there it goes. All right, there's the exhaust right there. I mean, this thing's original. Like, I mean, it's in good condition. All right, now I'm going to show you what the big difference is between the 2 pipes. All right, and this is the difference right here, is this one actually has a flange that sticks out, and this one is a flat flange. So the one that has the boss that sticks out, it actually fits right inside the exhaust, and you can see the ledge on there. So it fits perfectly right in there. That's the one plus about this, the minus about this. So needless to say, we just have to, we're going to, like, what I've seen other people do is I do have the gasket. So I've got the exhaust gasket for this, is they just use some gasket sealant around the manifold, all that kind of stuff. Just that way you ain't got to worry about it. Put a little sealant on it, put the gasket on, a little sealant, knock the exhaust. We're good to go. So I guess let me go ahead. I think I have exhaust gaskets. I forgot, I should have checked that. Yeah, let's hope so. Let me go check. Okay, I'm not trying to knock Scooter Swap Shop because, you know, well, they're the only ones that make really an exhaust for this that's decent. Or I think they're the only ones that do make an exhaust for this. But they could do a better design than this. This is not the best. So first of all, this does not line up perfect. It's on there. I'm hoping it does not leak. I do have some exhaust sealant around it, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to hold. I think it's going to leak. I had to get out my die grinder, which is up on the bench up there, and elongate these holes because they were like, the stock ones, they're elongated, like, but these ones were perfectly round and they were too far forward. So I had to elongate them backwards. The top one's on, the bottom one, you can't even get to it because the exhaust, like, I mean, like, it's at an angle, so you can't even get the bottom one in. Like, I'm gonna let this dry for a little while. And does this even say how long this stuff takes to dry? Exhaust and muffler sealant. Let's see here. Dry for 30 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna give it a while. If it doesn't seal, it doesn't seal. I'm gonna have to tear it back apart and redo and all this kind of stuff. And it's like the exhaust needs to kind of go this way more. So my thing is for the amount of money that this exhaust costs, it should be a lot better than this. Like, no joke. It should be a lot better quality than this. Because here's my thing. Okay, you might be the only company that sells an exhaust for this, but at the same time, you sell a lot of these exhausts for this bike. Like, you sell a lot. I know you do. Like, this, you know, the angle could be a little bit better. The turn down right here could just be a slight bit more. This could be at a greater angle, which would push the exhaust up a little more, but it would give you the clearance right here. So there's a few things that could be like improved with this, but you know, that's their, you know, okay, they know what they're doing. I'm just, you know, garage mechanic type thing. All right. Still don't think this is gonna seal. All right, I'm gonna give it a little while because I'm not gonna put this thing all back together before, anyways, because I gotta tear it all apart, and then we gotta get to this side. Okay, so it's been about an hour since I did this, so let's go ahead and we'll see if this thing is leaking. So the easiest way to tell, like on stuff like this, is start it. Now it's kind of hard because this thing has a fan that sucks in air right here and it blows it through the head, so there's going to be air passage coming out through here. So I will feel around and see if I can feel anything, but most vehicles like this, you can just plug the exhaust and it should shut itself off. So let's go ahead, start this thing up and see if it'll do its thing. You know what I'm saying? I love the kickstart. There you go. All right. Oh, I left that. Well, it doesn't matter. The battery's not plugged in. So, exhaust works. Exhaust is on there. Exhaust is not leaking. I've got one bolt. I mean, I'm not going to complain. I know that this thing's not going to come off. So I've got, you know, one out of the two bolts that hold it here. This is a big bracket. I'm pretty sure that this thing's not going to go anywhere. This motor doesn't shake excessively, so I think we're going to call that a day on this aspect. I am keeping this spare bolt just in case, you know, and all that stuff, keeping the exhaust. So let's go ahead now. We'll spin the bike around, take the side panel off, and go ahead and start working on the other piece, which is the belt, the pulley, and all that kind of stuff for the other side. Okay, so I got the cover off. Now is where you got to get into everything else. So all of this has to get taken apart. So you gotta take the clutch off, and you have to take the front part off right here. Because this pulley goes behind here. So that's what the front of the belt rides on. And you have to take the clutch off because the belt is actually underneath the casing right here. So basically, everything here. There's that. All right, there's that. Here's the belt, and then this is where the, wow, that's a big difference in weight. Okay. I'll take the belt off. We'll just slide that back on for right now. Don't want to lose that. Let's go ahead. There's one other thing that we got to do, which I don't know how to do yet, which is I got to replace the jet in the car. So let's take the gloves off. Here's the new pulley right here, and here's the old pulley right here. Now, I got to get comfortable on this concrete floor. So this is like, you know, this is heavy. I mean, like, this is at least a good pound, and this is nothing at all. So this is rotational mass right here that we're losing and all that kind of stuff. And this is where one of the issues with the sprees is this is a non-variated motor. So if you go like the newer ones, they have a variator right here. So like the Ruckus and a couple, you know, the Elites and stuff like that, they have a variator in the front, which actually like a CVT, which can change the, you know, the belt up here. So since this one is not variated, that's where this is kind of limited with its speed versus a variated system, which is fine. That's why they invented this right here. First thing is less rotational mass on the front right there, and then also the way the pulley rides on here is different than the other. So we just got to switch this out, put the new belt on. Let's see here. This belt doesn't look too bad. It is a Honda belt also. But that is ridiculously heavy. That goes on there. That goes on there. Then this goes on there and locks it down. Oh my goodness, that was the hardest thing I ever did. Okay, glad I didn't video any of that, because that literally took me like an hour to get everything put back on. Okay, but it's on. Because basically, the belt before rode down low. Now the new one, the belt rides up high. So you're riding from the belt down here to belt up there. Then you have to open the clutch up and squeeze the belt into the clutch. This is technically a two-person job. I managed to get it done with one person. Not the easiest thing. But you can see the new aluminum piece in here. new belts on, everything's good to go. So that should give me some more speed. Now, the only thing is I gotta do the research on where you put a main jet at. I think I have to take the bowl off of this, and the main jet goes up through the bottom, if I'm correct, into there. So that's something that I'm going to have to research on real quick and figure that out, because I think that's where it goes. Shouldn't be too hard, because most of the times, because I did it on something, I don't remember what. Ooh, you almost saw that. But I did something underneath here once on another thing, and the main jet is through the bottom. So I need to do the research real quick before I put all this back together. Okay, so we got this thing all done. It's all put together. Now, let's go ahead and... Did I disconnect the battery on this? I don't think I did. And now, again, let's go ahead, get out and do a speed test on this thing. And see what this thing will do. Okay, I'm back. I still think it had more, but right there, 40 miles an hour. So I still think it had more. I still think it was, I don't know, it was still felt like it was pulling a little bit, but roughly, I'm gonna say this thing gained 10 miles per hour. So it was at 29 before. Now it's at 40. That's technically 11, but you know, whatever. Gained 11 miles per hour. So that's on my tests. So again, you saw before it was 29, now it's 40. That's 11 miles per hour gain on this thing. Not complaining. The only thing that I know, which I've already done, messed the bike up, is right here. So the exhaust with me on it, and I'm sitting at the front, like I'm not sitting back where I want. I noticed that like while I was riding, I'm kind of sitting towards the front right now because I'm trying to mitigate the amount of weight that's on the back of this thing. Yeah, I burned the plastics right there. Whew, well, GoPro died. Like I said, it does suck that the plastic did melt, because this thing was like, you know, mint. But I bought it to use it. I still want to see if I can stiffen up the rear spring on this thing somehow, because I need to stiffen up the rear suspension on this because it is real soft. If I can get a new shock, I don't know. But the rear of this thing is way too spongy anyways, which I've noticed driving it when it was bone stock. And now with the bigger pipe on there, all that kind of stuff, yeah, it's really noticeable and all that kind of stuff. Plus I can feel it every time I hit a bump. You can just feel it bang, bang, bang. So we're gonna have to upgrade that or figure out a way to stiffen it up. Something has to happen ASAP. Well, I guess that's all I really wanted to do is, you know, get it all modified out, take it for a test drive. Now I gotta do a little bit of modifications to it to get it like perfect the way I want it. But besides that, it's ready to rip. Small bore rally is coming up real soon, so basically I'm good to go. I'll be able to keep up with the crowd, keep up with the pack, and keep it rolling. So I guess we'll catch you in the next one. See you then.